and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be analyzing Beat It by Michael Jackson. Of course, the king of music. One of his most iconic songs. And I gotta tell you that I'm quite happy to do this because I am excited. I'm about to watch the Michael Jackson movie. Please tell me if you have watched it already and what do you think about it. Without spoilers, of course, because plenty of us haven't watched the movie. And of course, this song is amazing. It's a song that everybody, I guess, has heard before in their lives. And I decided to do this as well because I see the success of the movie that it seems to be having as him vanquishing and conquering everything that was thrown at him back in the day when they were trying to destroy his career. And I mean those who don't care about us, if you know what I mean.
You know who I'm talking about.
But with that being said, let's get into it. But before we go, if this is your first time on the channel, I welcome you because in here we analyze the music that we love from the perspective of an active musician and professional music producer, but using language that everybody can understand. With that being said, let's get into it now. Here we go. So here we go, Beat It by Michael Jackson. Sorry for interrupting, but you know the drill. This song is simply amazing. I didn't remember it being this good. Well, of course I do, but every time you play this track back, it always puts a smile on your face, don't you think? Because it's so filtered with detail, yet it's very easy to understand, very easy to follow, and everything that happens, it's so intricately produced and well done that feels almost like it's not fun at all from a producer's perspective. Why? Because everything that happened during this brief section of the song that we just played is so well crafted that truly blows me away. First and foremost, just so that I was trying to draw your attention to first the rhythmic pattern that took place during the introduction. That's basically speaking a drum machine, something similar to what you got in front of you. And those are devices that you use to program drums, as the name implies, and they are quite, well, they have a sound of their own, and they are very reminiscent to this particular era of music production. And they were super recent at that point. They were like at the vanguard of technology for music production. So everybody was using them. For example, Peter Gabriel and many more people like of such caliber during this particular period in time. The thing is that I was trying to draw your attention particularly to a sound that was similar to this. Some form of a clap that is playing on some of the accents of the drum pattern. As soon as the drumming kicks in, and yes, I know he's one of the Pocaros, please remind me his name because I'm terrible with it, but it's incredible. He's a fantastic drummer. Once the drumming kicks in, they kept that particular accent, the clap-like sound, underneath or probably besides the sound of the snare, the real snare being recorded in the room, making it sound thicker, punchier, and yet not metal. I don't know if that makes sense to you, because this track is heavy as all balls. Just the production makes it feel a bit more family-friendly. But if you analyze it from a guitar player perspective or a metalhead, the riff is super heavy. It's super, super metal. It's punchy, it's very aggressive, and even makes you like, yeah. I'm gonna bet it. Because it has that emotional connotation, and that's fantastic. Man, that's why he's the king, obviously. Now, when it comes to the bass, I also think it was Steve Lukather, right? The one who played the bass in this one, because he played the rhythmic guitar and also the bass. And for those of you who don't know who he is, he's the guitar player for Toto. Yeah, that Toto. And that band is also excellent. I happen to be a huge fan of, well, Michael Jackson and Toto. And later on, for the guy who plays the solo, that everybody knows who he is, later on in this track, I also happen to be a huge fan of him. But regardless of me being a fanboy, the guitar tone is excellent, as every single time Steve Lukather plays guitar, don't you think? I was trying to draw your attention as well to some of the moments in which the guitar was panned. And I even used the stereo field analyzer, you got it somewhere here. Try to draw your attention to that particular point in the frequency spectrum where the guitar was played on this side, the right, opening up a space for the voice to go through the center. Very well done. And here's the big one. Modern music production, we usually have at least two guitars panned, one on each side of each side. Sorry, words are hard, of the stereo spectrum, because that makes a much more ballsier guitar sound, regardless of the genre you're producing. But in this case, given the fact that they were working with much more limited resources back in the day, and just imagine that, they had lesser technology, and yet they produced way better music that we're capable of today. We're clearly going through a dark age. Push the like button if you agree with that statement. And also give me your comments regarding that point as well. But now, the guitar, even though it's only one guitar on one side, it feels massive, don't you think? It's very much in your face, and it's probably one of the things that you remember as soon as the track plays. But then, this is probably a little bit more difficult to detect, but there is another guitar that happens sometimes in this side and sometimes in this other side, which is playing a little bit of a rhythm pattern rather than a harmonic one. The harmonic is the main riff, right? This one I'm mentioning is much more like something like that. Once I press play, try to find it while the track's playing, right? Also, the singing, of course, the star of the show. Amazing, don't you think? One of the things that I love about Michael Jackson's vocal style, because it's unique to him, is not only his fantastic vocal range and his control over his tone. He has a very defined style that is difficult to replicate, because you got these moments in which he's soft, but then he's able to put a lot of energy and drama, but not in the sense of it being kind of melodramatic. I mean, it feels angry and aggressive, and you can hear it here in certain moments. And the thing that I love about it is that he does it on a word-by-word basis. That's insane, because he actually can put emphasis on a particular section of a particular word that makes it feel much more impactful and delivers a much better performance. It's incredible. That's why he is who he is. Amazing. Now, I'm going to press play once again. Please pay attention to the way that everything is arranged, okay? By arrangement, I mean, think of something in terms of how far away or close things are, and try to divide the instruments as well. So far, we discussed the guitars, the bass, and the drums, and of course the vocals. But there are plenty of synthesizers being played as well in the background. And synthesizers such as the ones that I got behind me, stuff like that. But also a little bit of a, I don't know if it's a C clavier or something like that. Please let me know, those of you who are more into the details of the production. Because it's also good for everybody to learn from each other, right? But try to position them, divide them, try to see what kind of instruments are playing and where are they, okay? Close to you, to the right, to the left, or the center, okay? We will discuss that once when I was mixed together. So let's keep rocking. Here we go. God damn, this is a great track. You saw that I truly love that guitar solo. It's excellent, it's fantastic. It was Eddie Van Halen, for those of you who don't know. Of course he was. It was him. According to Legend, he did it in one take. Do you buy that one? I don't know. It's a huge chance because he was such a great, incredibly talented guitar player and musician that you can hear his style going through, and somehow Eddie made it work in a way that made sense with the rest of the music. That tells you how big of that shows you the caliber of musicians we're dealing with, because Eddie Van Halen was capable of designing or adapting his style of playing to a completely different act in a way that still retained his unique qualities as a musician. Now, man, that's damn. In front of us, we got Decibel, which is the tool that we use to analyze music through the use of a visual medium. Over here, we got the first section of our analyzer, which is the one that is going to be showing us right now, with the use of this white line, the loudness of each of the different frequencies that are part of the human hearing range. But, of course, coming out of the music that we listen to, but at their highest point in volume. Why is that important? Whenever you're messing around with an equalizer on your stereo, you have access to three bands usually, right? The lows, which is the bass, then the mids and the treble, right? Which would be the highs. And whenever you mess around with them, you're actually boosting or cutting, removing energy from those bands. And you can feel differently depending on what you push forward or backwards, right? So this, what we got in front of us, is the sound of the mix itself without any form of enhancement coming from my end, okay? So, first thing, this is something that I always like to point out whenever we do this analysis. And this is the low end. This is where your bass area would be found, okay? And bass, I don't mean just the bass guitar, okay? I mean everything that is on the lower end of the spectrum. You'll see that we got a very tame, it's not in your face, it's not extremely loud, it's kind of in the same boundaries as the mid-range over here. And that's something that I love quite a lot. Why? It feels real. It doesn't feel overly enhanced. It doesn't feel super gigantic. And don't get me wrong, that sound has its place. For example, in electronic music, you need that insane bump in the low end. But this is pop music, but I don't even know if this is pop music. I think this is just good music. What do you think about that statement as well? And it's not asking for this kind of overly hyped sound. You can make the argument that it's also, once again, the result of the technology used back in the day, because I don't know what kind of console they recorded this one, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know why I have in my head the idea of them using a Trident console. I might be wrong. If you happen to know the details, please let me know. And that's important because they have a sound of their own, okay? This is a controller, this is not a console, but I'm not going to get into the details of this because this is the modern approach to this. But it has a particular flavor to it. It's very musical, and also you don't have that huge low end that is more common on modern records, because the design of those devices had this tendency of having this slight cut on a slight roll off, if I use better terminology, on the low end, making it feel a bit more kind of just pumping, but it's not like boom, wow, I'm blown away by it. Get me? Now, coming to the next section, which is the mids, you'll see that we got such a beautiful display of it. I know it means very little to you, and that's actually good because that means that you're not a nerd, but I happen to be a huge nerd. So, over here, I find it interesting and also very good because it feels, let's put it this way. The way I describe this mix, it feels correct, punchy, defined, exciting, kind of stylistically speaking, beautiful, and also full of personality. Can you agree with that statement? One of the reasons why I think I refer to this mix as such thing is because of how this thing takes place. We got everything that is part of the track presented to us in a very even fashion. Don't get me wrong. For example, these spikes are probably, I think it's probably some of the moments in which either the snare and Michael were singing or hitting, clashing together while the track's playing. But it feels very good. And this is actually very, very interesting. This slight hype over here, probably it's the hi-hats or something very high-pitched, because this is almost close to supersonic. It's very, I'm now very curious to see what was that. But coming back to the analysis, speaking of the high end, it's not ear piercing, right? For those of you who happen to be a little more of an audiophile or have the language, I wouldn't describe this record as warm, but it has a little bit of this warm tendency to it, don't you think? I mean, by that, it's not that intense, especially considering that this is a vocal-driven record. We don't get this amount of in-your-face, kind of shouty vocals, even though Michael was renowned for being an extremely loud singer. That it would be like a little bit too tiresome to listen to. I even think that the way that they recorded and produced this track when it comes to the vocals is one of those master classes, because it feels how mellow is not the word that I'm looking for. It feels like a sweet to a certain degree, yet abrasive enough. It's very difficult to describe. Please give me your interpretation of that as well. So yeah. That's the reason why I think this record sounds so beautifully. Now, let's take a look at the second section of the analyzer, because this is, for those of you who happen to know this channel for a while, I am a huge sucker for the information displayed by this section. This, for those of you who are new to this, is the dynamic range analyzer. With this blue blob, we are shown how loud the entirety of the track was throughout the entirety of the playback. This is important because it's going to show us, as I mentioned before, the dynamic range, which stands for the difference between the highest point in volume with the lowest point in volume throughout time. Why? When something is louder, it's much more exciting. When something is quieter, it's much more personal and intimate. Get me? Emotionally speaking, of course. And this being a masterfully produced record, we got dynamic range everywhere. And I love that. Why? Try to remember the track, because I know that you know it like the back of your palm of your hand. So, this is the introduction. The weird-ass tang, tang, kind of bell-like sound that it's totally out there, followed by the rhythmic pattern that we described at the beginning of this analysis. You got it here. But see how big the jump in volume is once the music starts to develop momentum. This is where you start to getting ready before the guitar hits somewhere around this section. This is the beginning of the song. And see how it continued this way? Or probably, let me rephrase it. This could be the introduction of the guitar, and this is the voice. This is where the vocals kick in. And then we got the huge jump, because this is the moment in which the first chorus hits. Don't tell me that chorus doesn't stick in your head as soon as you hear it. As soon as you hear it, you're like, okay, yeah, I will remember this song forever. And one of the reasons why that happens is because of this bump in volume. They knew that they were working with power, so let's use it at that very point. And this is something that happens when you're working with the console, for example. Let's say that I'm playing with it, where I'm producing the song, and I'm mixing it, and there is a point in which I will be doing this. This is the master fader, okay? And the moments in which I push it forward, or a little bit higher in volume, is when I will be adding that moment of excitement during the chorus, right? Then the next verse is gonna kick in. I'm gonna duck it down just a little bit. Why? To let the song breathe. Let's take a look at the second section now. You'll see that here is the second verse, and it's almost as loud as the first chorus. It's basically as loud. Look at that. Why? Because once we hit the second chorus, it's even louder. More excitement, punchier, way more dramatic, much more drama overall. And here's the big drop that prepared the instrumental section. With the fantastic effect that I tried to show you as well, because when this happened, they were actually using a ping-pong delay. That's actually terminology, because it does ping-pong, ping-pong. Get it? The repetition happens on each side of the stereo spectrum. But then the song starts to develop momentum, and that's the reason why that guitar solo hits you so hard as well, because it's just a crescendo of energy and excitement. And here is finally the final chorus, and it takes us home with this beautiful fade out that should be part of modern music production once again. Because those fade outs sounds amazing. Well, that's my opinion. So there you got it. What do you think? As you can see, I'm clearly excited because I truly love this song. I I'm a huge fan of this guy, Michael. And, well, if you liked what you saw, and if you want me to analyze another song by Michael Jackson, please let me know in the comment section down below which one would be the next one. Because he has an incredible catalog, and every record he produced is a masterclass in music production. With that being said, thanks for joining, thank you for watching, and if you want to support this channel, please consider subscribing and also leaving a like, because that helps us quite a lot. And as every single time that I meet you, I gotta remind you that you should never let anybody tell you what to dream about. And remember, I will see you when I see you.